आणि म्हणून या वर्चस्ववादाचा कट्टरपणाचा विसर पाडून स्वतःला या देशाच्या सर्वसमावेशक संस्कृतीशी एकरूप झालं पाहिजे.
Opposition welcomes RSS harmony message.
मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ उससे इस विषय पर. मुझे पहले भी कहा था कि सारे मस्जिद के नीचे अब शिवलिंग ढूंढने की खोजने की कोई जरूरत नहीं.
But Akhilesh says too late.
जब 5 लोग मर गए, न जाने कितनों पे झूठे मुकदमे लग गए, न जाने कितनों को अपमानित होना पड़ा है, घरों में पुलिस गई है, महिलाओं के साथ अपमान का व्यवहार हुआ, तब कह रहे हैं कि हर मंदिर को नहीं खोदना चाहिए.
End Mandir-Masjid fights pitch. Top focus on 6 p.m. Friday.
Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal and we're going to be talking about the big message that's come in from the RSS saying stop these endless Mandir-Masjid disputes. What's this message, the need of the hour, and for it to come from the sun? We're going to be talking about that. Let's begin with the headlines. BJP Congress in big Sansad flare-up. Day after assault and threat at Parliament, BJP and India MP stage protest. Rahul booked for assault Congress on war path as winter session comes to a close. BJP MP gives 1984 bag to Priyanka, a reminder of the 1984 anti-Sikh riots after Priyanka's Palestine and Bangladesh bags. Blood-soaked 1984 inscription bag given to Priyanka. Week after shrine reopens, ASI, the Archaeological Survey of India, conducts discreet survey of Sambal Temple. 19 wells, 5 other pilgrimage sites also studied. Arrested for crass remark against Karnataka Women Minister Lakshmi Hebbalkar, BJP MLC CT Ravi granted bail by Karnataka High Court in 24 hours. BRS MLA KT Ramarao gets protection from arrest till December 30th in Formula E race deal probe. BRS leader calls it a Kong bid to divert from own failures. And 11 people killed in massive fire at Jaipur petrol pump as CNG truck collides with an LPG truck. Over 40 vehicles gutted in blaze. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat has sent across a big message of harmony. It's not the first time that he's done it. But the RSS chief, knowing full well that right now you're seeing this heated Mandir-Masjid debate and controversy almost over every single iconic or known mosque site, has said that now it's time to stop this. Now, the RSS chief is referred to the Ram Mandir agitation, saying that was something that had no political color and it was important for Hindus to have that site. But he said that to create a Ram Mandir-like dispute over every single mosque is uncalled for and shouldn't be done. This message from the RSS chief, which is something he said before, has in fact got the opposition, the BJP, all coming out and hailing it, endorsing his comments.
Amid rising Mandir-Masjid disputes, Mohan Bhagwat calls for harmony. The RSS Satsang Chalak warned aspiring Hindu leaders against stirring up disputes over places of worship across India.
सगळं राम मंदिर झालं पाहिजे, ते होत आहे. हिंदूंची श्रद्धास्थान हिंदूंना वाटतं. परंतु असं केलं म्हणजे हिंदूमध्ये नेता होता येतं म्हणून किंवा अतिरेकी भूतकाळाच्या ओझ्याच्या परिणामामुळे अतिरेकी तिरस्कार, द्वेष, शत्रुता, संशय याच्या पोटी रोज एक नवीन प्रकरण काढणे हे कसं चालेल? हे नाही चालणार.
Advocating unity, Bhagwat said that the world needs to know Indians can live together.
शेवटी आपण आपलं सोल्युशन काय आहे? जगाला आपल्याला दाखवायचं आहे की आपण सगळे एकत्र नांदू शकतो. आपल्या देशात त्याचा छोटासा प्रयोग झाला पाहिजे. तो प्रयोग करताना आहेत आमच्या या सगळ्या सगळ्यांना सामावून घेणाऱ्या अनेक पंथ संप्रदायांच्या विचारधारा आमच्या इथे आहेत.
Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav took a jibe on Bhagwat, calling the advice a bit too late in the day.
जब 5 लोग मर गए, न जाने कितनों पे झूठे मुकदमे लग गए, न जाने कितनों को अपमानित होना पड़ा है, घरों में पुलिस गई है, महिलाओं के साथ अपमान का व्यवहार हुआ, तब कह रहे हैं कि हर मंदिर को नहीं खोदना चाहिए.
Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, however, endorsed Bhagwat's message of peace.
और वो बिल्कुल ठीक ही कहा. इतिहास तो इतिहास है, बहुत कुछ हुआ है 500 साल पहले. अरे 21वीं शताब्दी में हमारे आज के जनता को कौन तकलीफ दे दे इसके बुनियाद में. मेरे ख्याल में अभी हम भविष्य के बारे में सोचने का वक्त आया है.
त्यांचं राज्य
Bhagwat's big message of unity comes ahead of a Supreme Court deadline for the Narendra Modi government to give its view on petitions challenging the Places of Worship Act that bars claims on temples and masjids and keeps the status quo as of August 15, 1947. Bureau Report, India Today.
There's a reason that right now the RSS chief has made these comments saying don't target every single mosque, because that's literally happening in the country right now. There are about 10 plus cases pending in different courts seeking that under a mosque find out if there was a temple, and most of these petitions are filed by Hindu sides. Let's break down some of the ones that have been talked about of late. In Varanasi, the Gyanvapi Masjid, a plea has been filed in the Supreme Court for a survey by the Archaeological Survey of India of the sealed area. Gyanvapi, of course, has been a big bone of contention. The area where the shivling was found in earlier survey was sealed off as well. Now, this was where the Wazukhana was in the mosque. The Supreme Court stayed the survey ordered by the High Court. This is in Mathura, the Shahi Eidgah Masjid, where in fact the Hindu side has said this is the Krishna Janmabhoomi. Ensure that that particular area is given back to us. Now, as far as Sambhal in Uttar Pradesh, which we've been seeing in the news, is concerned, the Jama Masjid there, the survey was done by the orders of a local court. But that, of course, has been stalled now in the sense that we don't know what the survey has found. Then you have the Jama Masjid in Agra, again hugely famous, an international site for tourism. A plea has been filed in a high court seeking an archaeological survey of India site look. Now, the Bhojshala, which is in Dhar of Madhya Pradesh, ASI survey has already been done on the orders of the High Court. But remember, right now, there's a pause that's been pressed in this particular case too. In Karnataka, Srirangapatna, the Jama Masjid there too is in controversy. There's a plea that's been filed in the Karnataka High Court seeking a survey. The court is still hearing that case. The Ajmer Dargah in Rajasthan, again hugely famous. A plea has been filed in a local court seeking survey. Based on this particular plea, a notice has been issued to relevant authorities, so we'll have to see what really happens there. The Atala Masjid in Jaunpur, a plea has been filed in a district court for Hindus to have the right to worship and to offer prayers there. It's been challenged in the High Court. So a lot of back and forth as far as the Atala Mosque is concerned. In Badaयूं, again, this is in Uttar Pradesh, Jama Masjid, the plea has been filed in a local court for Hindus to be able to offer prayers. I've listed just a handful of petitions essentially that are in the courts. There are many more such petitions, pleas that have been filed seeking surveys. And essentially, after surveys, can anything happen? We don't know just yet, because the Places of Worship Act. Now, the Places of Worship Act, if you know the details, is an act that essentially stops the character of a place of worship being changed after a certain date. So how is it that these kind of petitions are being filed where they're questioning if these areas are actually mosques or temples? I explained that for you in the next report. With Hindu-Muslim tensions and mosque-temple spats ruling the news cycle, there's a heated debate on judicial rulings on these issues. And at the heart of it is the Places of Worship Act. The Places of Worship Special Provisions Act 1991 was enacted, yes, in 1991, at the peak of the Ram Mandir agitation, and essentially states that the religious character of any place of worship as it existed on August 15, 1947 must be maintained. Here's the most important part of the Act. Section 3 of the Act bars the conversion in full or part of a place of worship of any religious denomination into a place of worship of a different religious denomination, or even a different segment of the same religious denomination. To dump it down for you, essentially, if it's a Muslim place of worship, it can't be converted into a Hindu place of worship. The law, which has been a part of the Congress's 1991 election manifesto, was meant to put to bed all controversies arising out of the alleged historical conversion of a place of worship. Now, while introducing it in Parliament, the then Home Minister S.B. Chavan had said, and I'm quoting what he said, the enactment of this bill will go a long way in helping restore communal amity and goodwill. But it's important to also note here that the Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi dispute was specifically kept outside its purview, outside this act's purview, as the dispute was already sub judice when this law was passed. The Supreme Court itself had, in its 2019 verdict in the Ayodhya title suit, read the guarantee offered by the Places of Worship Act as part of the basic structure of the Constitution. I'll just read out for you the Supreme Court ruling, an important line here. The state has, by enacting the law, enforced a constitutional commitment and operationalized its constitutional obligations to uphold the equality of all religions and secularism, which is a part of the basic structure of the Constitution. So why then are there even petitions being filed seeking conversions of places of worship and surveys and whatnot? That's because of what happened in the Supreme Court in August 2023. The then Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud led a bench which permitted a survey to be carried out at the Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi to examine whether the mosque has been built on a temple. So does that essentially go completely against the Places of Worship Act? Not really, because here's what the ex-CGI said. While noting that there could be no conversion of the place, Chandrachud said the structure's original character, as he put it, could always be determined. This essentially means that an inquiry into what the nature of the place of worship was on August 15, 1947 can be allowed, even if that nature can't be subsequently changed because of the act. But then, it wasn't just Gyanvapi. Later that year, a local court in Mathura admitted a plea seeking the transfer of the land of the Shahi Idgah Mosque in the city to a Hindu trust for the construction of a temple at the Krishna Janmabhoomi, leading to a heightened chorus of Ayodhya Jhaki Hai, Kashi Mathura Baki Hai, which essentially translates to Ayodhya is done, Kashi and Mathura are pending, are next. So while the title suits essentially claiming access or the right to worship in Varanasi and Mathura continue, there's also, interestingly, a constitutional challenge to the Places of Worship Act 1991 that's pending before the Supreme Court. The Apex Court currently has before it 4 separate petitions that challenge the Act itself, that challenge the Places of Worship Act. In September 2022, a bench that was headed by then CJI UU Lalit had directed the government to file a response on its stand within 2 weeks on this issue, on the Places of Worship Act. 2 years on, however, the centre is yet to actually file its affidavit. So even as the Union Government and Apex Court are taking their time on this issue, several pleas have been filed before high courts, before local courts, seeking surveys of mosques, not to change the place of worship, but to determine what exactly stood there before. In Agra, there's a plea seeking an ASI survey of the Jama Masjid. In Karnataka, a plea seeks a survey of the Jamia Masjid in Srirangapatna. In Rajasthan, a plea claims that a Shiva temple lies below the Ajmer Dargah. Surveys have been conducted of the Jama Masjid in Sambal and of the Bhojshala in Dhar, Madhya Pradesh, and that list goes on. And let's see if the RSS chief's message actually puts an end to all of these disputes and controversies that we see arising every single day over a different mosque, a different place of worship. Let's move on to another story that came in, a heartbreaking one from Jaipur, where 11 people died after a collision of 2 trucks, one with CNG, the other with LPG, and it happened right next to a fuel pump. That led to those images that you see right now on your screens of a massive ball of flame that spread, literally a wave of flames across that petrol pump, leading to 11 people dying and over 40 being injured. Now, this has in fact led to questions also about how this kind of a collision took place. We'll break all that down for you in our next report.
A shocking tragedy in Jaipur after 2 trucks collided near a fuel pump.
The video on your screen showing the deadly damage due to the crash as waves of flames engulf the fuel pump. What led to this extent of a blaze was that the two trucks that collided were a CNG and an LPG-filled truck.
This LPG tanker collided with a CNG truck. You can see how drastic the collision was. The fire which erupted because of this collision spread in an area of several meters. You can see the factory on my left hand side which got engulfed because of the fire. There are several other vehicles which also got engulfed due to the fire. There are several fire ambulances also in this area which have been passing from here. Right now the situation is quite fluid out here.
Several dead, over 40 injured as those in the fuel pump and vehicles parked close by bore the brunt. Some lived to tell the tale. Nothing short of a miracle that they survived this place.
मैंने देखा, मैं जब ड्यूटी आ रहा था बाइक से तो एकदम से धमाके हुए और एकदम से आग लग गई। आग लग के जैसे धुआं का गुब्बार उठा ना वैसे उठा। इतने में गाड़ियां आपस में भिड़ती रही।
ये इस पनी में लाई लग गई थी, सामने एक नायरा का पंप है उस पर लाई लग गई, वो खड़े मतलब आग पकड़ ली थी। फिर हमने यहाँ पर आग पर काबू पाया सिलेंडर से। हमारी जहाँ तक दृष्टि गई थी वहाँ तक तो खड़े में आग दिख रही थी हमें तो।
Even as Prime Minister Modi has announced ex gratia of 2 lakhs for the kin of the deceased and 50,000 for those injured, the Rajasthan Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma visited those who were injured in the fire.
इस घटना में हताहत हुए उनको मैं संवेदनाएं प्रकट करता हूं और मैं हॉस्पिटल जाकर के भी आया हूं। घटना के लिए जो भी होगा हम जांच भी करेंगे, उनके इलाज भी करेंगे, जो उचित उनको सहयोग करना है वो भी करेंगे।
जब से सुना है हमने तो बहुत ही तकलीफ हो रही है मन के अंदर। मैं समझता हूँ कि जो जिनकी मृत्यु होगी तो ईश्वर को प्रार्थना कर सकते हैं जहाँ शांति के लिए उन परिवार वालों के लिए, पर जो लोग घायल भी है वो जल्दी उन तंदुरुस्त हो, उनका स्वास्थ्य ठीक रहे।
An unprecedented mishap in Jaipur that snuffed out so many lives, videos of which has left the nation numb. With Devankur in Jaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
And with that, I'm slipping into a short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side is my special report, India Today Explains.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
ज़माने से हटकर बेबाक है मेरा सिग्नेचर। Signature Finest Cardamom Seeds, a premium product from Dilbar Group.
Rangila with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Former Haryana CM Om Prakash Chautala passes away at 89, CM Nayab Saini pays tribute. Yogi Adityanath's big statement says protection of Sanatan Dharma crucial for global peace, cites historical destruction of Hindu temples. One Nation One Election Bill referred to JPC, 27 Lok Sabha and 12 Rajya Sabha members included in committee.
From the country's #1 netas.
महाराष्ट्र के प्रोजेक्ट्स गुजरात जा रहे हैं, ये सब झूठ है, ये भी फेक नैरेटिव है, उनके पास कोई मुद्दे नहीं है।
3 लोगों को संभालना बहुत मुश्किल बात नहीं लगती आपको?
देखिए साहिल, एक पार्टी में भी अड़चने होती है।
All the people I've been speaking to in Wayanad, ma'am, they call you as Priyanka Chechi. It's really touching, also an honor for me.
आप अपनी नजर में अपनी इमेज कैसे चेंज करना चाहते हैं?
मैं बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड हूँ,
वो बदलने की मैंने कोशिश की।
बीजेपी के टॉप लीडर से बातचीत चल रही है आपकी बिहाइंड द सीन?
हम बिहाइंड द सीन्स कभी नहीं करते, जो है खुलेआम करते हैं।
That's a narrative which he's copying from someone else, from another good friend of mine.
अभी भी राहुल गांधी दोस्त है आप?
I've not named anyone.
You know, we've seen, of course, a lot of talk about Adani and the Congress's criticism and yet joining hands with them in Telangana.
I think you should ask this question of Rahul Gandhi, who keeps talking every single day about Adani and corruption.
कि शिवसेना किसी व्यक्ति या किसी फैमिली की पार्टी नहीं है। चोर की भी तो नहीं है, डकैत की भी दो नहीं है।
ब्लेम गेम हो जाता है। जो दिल्ली की सरकार है वो यूपी पे डाल देती है, हरियाणा पे डाल देती है, सेंटर पे डाल देती है, तो हमको वोट भी उन्हीं को देखकर करना चाहिए। Do you think there's a lack of global outreach on what's happening in Bangladesh?
Everyone talks about how minorities should be treated in India. How come no one talks about minorities, how they're being treated in Pakistan or Bangladesh?
Fearless, sideless, no excuses. All netas, all sides. One channel. India Today. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
भाजपाई पूरी तरीके से गुंडागर्दी पे उतर आए हैं और सदन के अंदर किसी को बोलने नहीं देते। मैं आप देखा होगा आपने, मैं उस दिन खड़ा होकर बोल रहा हूँ, सारे के सारे खड़े होकर चिल्ला रहे हैं, चीख रहे हैं। अब गुंडागर्दी करेंगे हम लोगों के साथ, आप बोलने नहीं देंगे। पार्लियामेंट फिर किस लिए बनी है? हम अपनी बात ही नहीं कह सकते, चीख रहे हैं, चिल्ला रहे हैं। अब राहुल गांधी जी अंदर जा रहे थे सदन के अंदर, अब उनके साथ धक्का मुक्की करना, उनको रोकना, आपको तो बाद की चीज दिख रही है ना। जो पहले भाजपाइयों ने किया वो क्यों नहीं दिख रहा है? ये देखिए आप, आज आप देखिए, ये वीडियो आपके ही एनआई ने ही डाला है। ये बीजेपी का एमपी है, रोक रहा है आगे खड़ा होकर। तुम गुंडागर्दी कर रहे हो वहां पे। मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे जी इतने बड़े नेता हैं दलित समाज के, उनको आप रोक रहे हैं।
Health is wealth, and in the age of technology, smart wearables are the new secret weapon for fitness enthusiasts and health-conscious individuals. From monitoring vital signs to enhancing workouts, these gadgets are gaining popularity, especially among Bollywood and Hollywood stars. Smart wearables are no longer just fitness trackers, they are comprehensive health monitors. Equipped to track heart rate, blood oxygen levels, and sleep quality, and even stress levels. They are a hit among the biggest names in entertainment. In fact, Apple has come up with a brilliant campaign where health meets luxury. Its latest India Gets Moving campaign allows participants to walk 15,000 steps daily for a year and get a free Apple Watch. Yes, you heard that right. Now you can walk in style. From Hollywood to Bollywood, these devices are now essential. Alia Bhatt swears by her fitness ring for tracking sleep and recovery, while Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson uses smart trackers to monitor his high-intensity workouts. These devices aren't just about fitness. Many now include ECG monitoring and blood pressure tracking, making them vital for preventive healthcare. Bollywood star Akshay Kumar, for instance, uses wearable tech to maintain his peak health at 56. Even Katrina Kaif was seen wearing a glucose monitor on her arm, which helps in tracking the glucose levels in the body in real time. Smart wearables are more than just gadgets. They're becoming a lifestyle choice. And with Indian brands stepping into the market, this technology is becoming accessible to everyone. Whether it's for tracking steps, managing stress, or ensuring a good night's sleep, smart wearables are proving that health and technology make the perfect pair. With A-listers endorsing these devices, their popularity is skyrocketing. With Chitaja Gosavi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Hello and welcome to another episode of India Today Explains. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. On the show today, in the countdown to the Delhi elections, it's freebie season, and so we decode the politics of freebies and if it actually hinders a state's growth story. We'll also talk about the raging controversy over letters shared between Jawaharlal Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten and explain to you what really we know about these letters. Also on the show, the origins and current state of Naxalism in India, as Home Minister Amit Shah has vowed to end Naxalism in India by 2026. And finally, we talk about Trump's latest statement on ending daylight savings and answer as to exactly what daylight savings is. Let's get started. It's election season in Delhi and the focus is once again on Revdi culture or freebie culture. The Aam Aadmi Party has announced free water, free power, free healthcare and whatnot. But let's now decode for you the history of freebie culture in India and if this kind of politics actually hurts the country's economy. Freebies, the practice of handing out doles to people, has become a practice, a norm, a part and parcel every election season. So let's tell you how this started and how it's become intrinsic to Indian politics. First, let's start with the basics. What does the term freebie actually mean? Essentially, that something is being given free of cost. I'm sure you've heard the word Revdi a lot before, and if you're wondering what it is, it's the Hindi word for freebies. But it's important here to make a distinction between the types of freebies, between welfareism and a freebie. So what's the difference? I'll highlight it using examples. Now, promising free education, offering midday meals, that's a welfare scheme. That's welfareism being pushed. Giving free cycles, TVs, mixers, grinders, those are all outright freebies. So let's now talk about the history of freebies in India, for which we have to go back in time to the 1950s. It was in Tamil Nadu first that we saw freebies actually taking root. K. Kamaraj, then Chief Minister of erstwhile Madras State, introduced SOPs like free education and free meals for school students. And then every leader in Tamil Nadu followed suit, upping the ante essentially also on these kind of promises and schemes. In 1977, Dr. MGR, as Chief Minister, used midday meals to attract more children to school. And to date, the scheme is active in Tamil Nadu and, of course, has been emulated by almost every state in the country today. But it was also Tamil Nadu that moved beyond welfareism. Free TVs, mobiles, cycles, grinders, mixies, you name it. It was offered in party manifestos and has become a part and parcel of Dravidian politics. It's worked in wooing voters, but the welfare schemes also that Tamil Nadu parties focus on have helped in ensuring that the economy of Tamil Nadu isn't dented. And it was bound to become a national talking point as well, because regional parties, most of them now offer freebies. I'll give you a few examples. Naveen Patnaik's 1 rupee per kilo rice scheme in Odisha. Nitish Kumar's free bicycle scheme for school-going girls in Bihar. Jai Lalita's distribution of 8-gram gold for brides. Mamata Banerjee's cash incentives for girls and health insurance scheme in West Bengal. Subsidized food grains by Yogi Adityanath in Uttar Pradesh. And then in Delhi, free electricity, water from Arvind Kejriwal's government in Delhi was promised years ago and continues now. The AAP, interestingly, in 2015, when it came to power with a promise of free water and free power, cracked that code of freebies. And since then, every party has attempted to emulate the model to woo voters in state polls and in national polls too. For example, the Congress's 5 guarantees that it promises in every state. The BJP has claimed that they're against freebie politics. Prime Minister Modi has repeatedly spoken out against this freebie culture and has said it's dangerous for the country. But now, looking at the BJP's manifestos in, let's say, Haryana or Jharkhand, the BJP essentially has modelled freebies as welfareism, but has also promised doles to vote banks. So let's ask the crucial question here. Who pays for these freebies? Well, the answer to that is simple. You do. It is unfortunately the state exchequer that pays for freebies, and in states where the economy can handle it, it doesn't feel a pinch. There isn't a dent. It's a whole other story, however, when states are already financially crippled. The cost of these freebies for some states is estimated to be as high as 96,000 crore rupees, or 2.2% of a state's GDP. Let's take a look at some of these examples. Freebies or subsidies in Maharashtra could cost the state up to 960 billion rupees, or about 2.2% of the GDP in the state. In Karnataka, it's about 1.9% of the state GDP. Telangana, it's about 352 billion rupees, roughly 2.2% of the GDP of the state. But what do all these numbers mean? Essentially, that there's very little room for development. In Karnataka, the Congress government has admitted repeatedly that they have no money for development because they have to fulfill their guarantees, and therefore they've hiked up prices of essentials. What that means effectively is that you're actually paying for these so-called freebies one way or another. In poll-bound Delhi, Kejriwal has announced 1,000 rupees per month for women, which is projected to cost 4,560 crores annually. With that, Delhi's subsidy bill nears 11,000 crores, which means in the next financial year, Delhi is actually staring at a budgetary deficit. But who cares? Because it's getting votes. So are there any guidelines? Who draws the lines essentially on freebies? Let me highlight here what the Supreme Court said on December 9th, 2024 on freebies, and I'm quoting here. For how long can freebies be given? Why don't we work to create job opportunities, employment and capacity building for these migrant workers? Now, there have been multiple petitions before the Supreme Court. They exist even now, seeking restrictions on freebies. And the top court in the past repeatedly has put the onus on the Election Commission. The EC on its part has said it's impossible to curb what parties mention in their manifesto, but has issued guidelines. So under its MCC, which is Model Code of Conduct Guidelines, the Election Commission has said, and I quote, "In the interest of transparency, level playing field and credibility of promises, it's expected that manifestos also reflect the rationale for the promises and broadly indicate the ways and means to meet the financial requirements for it. Trust of voters should be sought only on those promises which are possible to be fulfilled." But is the above followed? Not really, as political parties have never actually disclosed the cost of freebies they promise or the repercussion it has on the state economy. Edwina Mountbatten has been in the news this week after the Prime Minister's Museum and Library, the PMML, for the first time formally asked for the return of personal letters written by India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru to Edwina Mountbatten. So what was in these letters and who currently has custody of it? Let's break that down for you. In a letter from December 10, 2024, the Prime Minister's Museum and Library member Rizwan Qadri has written to Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, asking him to retrieve the original letters exchanged between Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten from his mother Sonia Gandhi. Let's tell you first exactly who Edwina Mountbatten was. Edwina Mountbatten was in India during the final months of the British Raj and the first months of the post-partition period, essentially from February 1947 to June 1948. She was married to Louis Mountbatten, who was the last Viceroy of India, and obviously they touched down in India at a very difficult time for the British Raj when they were nearing their end. She held the title of Countess of Mountbatten Burma and was an English heiress, socialite and also relief worker at several hospitals even during her time in India. Now, when the Viceroy and Viceroyina touched down in India, many historians said their first challenge was to actually find friends in India. It was a very difficult time for the Britishers at that point. And while they received a cold shoulder from many, the couple struck a close friendship with Jawaharlal Nehru. So yes, it wasn't just Edwina, but her husband too, who was known to be close to Nehru. In May 1947, Jawaharlal Nehru was invited to Shimla by Viceroy Louis Mountbatten and Edwina Mountbatten for an informal weekend. Nehru was known to be close to the Mountbattens. Now, many historians and books have said that Edwina and Nehru were good friends but became particularly close after Mahatma Gandhi's assassination. So let's now talk about the letters in contention and what exactly they contain. These letters obviously cannot be accessed currently, but members of the Mountbatten family, like Pamela Hicks, who's Edwina Mountbatten's daughter, had seen some of the letters, and she's written a book called Daughter of Empire, Life as a Mountbatten. Now, here's what Edwina's daughter has said about the letters in her book. I'm quoting here. I felt how deeply Nehru and my mother loved and respected each other. My mother found in Panditji the companionship and equality of spirit and intellect that she craved. But amidst so much talk of their friendship, it's also important to refer to another excerpt from Pamela's book. Quite apart from the fact that neither my mother nor Panditji had time to indulge in a physical affair, they were rarely alone. They were always surrounded by staff, police, and other people. Now, another fact that several historians have referred to is that when Edwina Mountbatten was set to leave India, she wanted to leave an emerald ring for Nehru, but knowing he would not accept it, she gifted it to his daughter Indira Gandhi. Now, letters were reportedly exchanged between Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten after she left India too. So where are these letters currently? Now, according to the Prime Minister's Museum and Library, these letters were handed over by Nehru's daughter Indira Gandhi to the museum library merely for safekeeping. But Sonia Gandhi took away 51 cartons of these documents back in 2008 when the UPA was in power. Home Minister Amit Shah's vow to end Naxalism at the Agenda Aaj Tak conclave has made national headlines. Shah has promised that under the Modi government, Naxalism will be wiped out by 2026. So let's decode for you how Naxalism took roots in India and decades on still remains a threat to our forces. Naxalism is a movement by left extremist groups. They've often been called Maoists too because they support Maoist ideology. It's a doctrine essentially developed by Mao Zedong to capture power from governments through armed insurgencies. So how did this movement actually seep into India? Let's go back to 1967, where Naxalism first took roots in the state of Bengal. The Naxalbari uprising was led by peasants who revolted against landowners. That's where Naxalism also, by the way, got its name from, courtesy the village where the first revolt took place. The Naxalbari movement was backed by a group called the Siliguri Group. It's a faction of the CPIM. CPIM then was Communist Party of India Marxist. Leaders like Charu Majumdar, Kanu Sanyal and Jungle Santal vowed their support to these villagers and said that they were even willing to resort to an armed struggle to ensure land was redistributed to the landless. 11 people died in that struggle, including a police officer. But this was just the beginning. In 1969, the CPI-ML, which is Marxist-Leninist, was formed by the Siliguri group because of a rebellion within the party. And the movement started gaining ground beyond Bengal as well. Youngsters particularly were very taken by the movement. In terms like class enemies, annihilation line became the theme of the movement. What that meant is to assassinate those who belonged to powerful positions. It was in 1980 that Naxalism spread like wildfire in Andhra Pradesh, particularly along the Andhra-Odisha border. After Naxals abducted landlords, killed police officials, the government cracked the whip, setting up a special force called the Greyhounds, and thereby dented the extremist movement. Now, the next important date to remember in the Naxal movement is September 2004. This was when the CPI Maoist was founded through the merger of two Naxal groups. And after this, the 2000s unfortunately saw a bloodied conflict in many parts of the country. Between 2004 to 2023, 8,803 people have been killed in different parts of India because of Naxalism. According to the Home Ministry, majority of the civilians killed are tribals, often branded as police informers before being brutally tortured and killed by Naxalites. That's why the UPA government in 2009 banned the CPI Maoist under the UAPA, declaring it as a terrorist organization. Let's now talk about the worst affected states by Naxalism. Now, the influence zone of the Naxalites is called the Red Corridor, which spanned nearly 25 districts. Mind you, that number has drastically reduced today. But in the peak of the Naxal movement, it was Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Bihar, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and even Kerala. Now, the Red Corridor is usually some of the poorer districts with a high tribal population, and development, importantly, in these parts have been met with violence and complete resistance. Now, let's also talk and tell you about some of the worst Naxal attacks that India has witnessed. The most recent bloodied one was in April 2023 when 10 security personnel, while returning from a counter-insurgency operation along with the driver, were killed when the vehicle they were travelling in was blown up by Naxals. This happened in Chhattisgarh's Dantewada. And then there was April 2021, where 22 security forces were killed by Naxals, again in Chhattisgarh, but this time in Sukma district. But the worst attack on our forces by Naxals was in 2010, when 300 Naxals attacked a CRPF convoy when they were returning after an operation, leading to 76 CRPF personnel losing their lives. It's important to also highlight here that the deaths in the last few years due to Naxals have come down. More and more Naxals now are surrendering their arms before the government. How is the government ensuring this? Let's now get you the details of how the government is tackling the Naxal threat. The Modi government, under Home Minister Amit Shah, has vowed to end Naxalism by March 2026. That's the deadline they've set for themselves. And they're planning to do so by establishing rule of laws in Naxal-affected areas. That's basically first, stop illegal activities, and second, to ensure the development in those areas that were deprived of the same by Naxals, to ensure minimal support to the extremists. But the biggest step that's also in fact been a game changer is incentivizing those Naxals who surrender. So here's what the government scheme is. Naxals who surrender get trained in a trade of their choice so they can go ahead and secure a job. They're also given a monthly stipend of 2,000 rupees for 36 months so that they can find a job, until then continue to fend for themselves. Not just that, 1.5 lakh rupees is also given as an immediate grant. And if they surrender with weapons, then that amount actually increases based on which weapon they've handed over to the forces. And so, in a state like Chhattisgarh, for example, since January 2024, over 723 Naxals have surrendered and given up arms. US President-elect Donald Trump has announced plans to end daylight saving time, calling it inconvenient, saying it's very costly for Americans. But what exactly is daylight savings, and why is this practice followed? Let's break that down for you. So daylight savings essentially refers to the practice of resetting clocks in accordance with changing seasons to better utilize natural daylight. Clocks are adjusted forward by 1 hour in the spring and back by 1 hour in the autumn. So let's first begin by explaining to you the origins of daylight savings. Now, this concept, initially proposed by Benjamin Franklin in 1784, was first implemented during World War I in Germany as a wartime measure to conserve energy. Initially unpopular, it was repealed after the war, but then again revived during World War II. So where is daylight saving time practiced? Well, most of North America and Europe. So that means the United States, Canada, Cuba, they all follow the custom. Majority of other countries, particularly those who are close to the equator, do not. Now, America first started following the practice in 1918, but then made it permanent in 1966. They actually have an act called the Uniform Time Act. Those states were allowed to go ahead and opt out. Today, most states in America observe it. Hawaii and Arizona are the only ones who don't, citing their unique climate and geography. The United Kingdom practices daylight savings. They set their clock back 1 hour on the date of October 29th because that's when autumn is. Australia, on the other hand, winds its clocks forward by 1 hour on the first Sunday of October. Many countries worldwide, however, have adopted and rejected it multiple times, but rejected the proposal due to a lack of popular support and technical challenges. Now, according to a 2023 analysis, this is by Pew Research Center, half of the countries globally previously observed these clock changes. Now, only about 1/3 maintain the custom. Over the last 10 years, Azerbaijan, Iran, Jordan, Namibia, Russia, Samoa, Syria, Turkey, Uruguay, and most of Mexico have all ended the practice. So essentially, why was this done? Introduced to conserve fuel, research shows that energy is limited and mixed. One older US report shows a potential decrease in energy use of 0.5%, while another report shows an increase of 4% usage. So then why are countries now abolishing the practice? More and more experts are citing safety, health, and climate issues as reasons as to why daylight saving shifts should be abolished. Time shifts, such as those related to daylight saving, disrupt circadian rhythms, also known essentially as your sleep-wake cycles. Disruption has been shown to increase disease severity because obviously your health suffers if your sleep cycle suffers. One of the serious health concerns related to time shifts are heart attacks. In 2018, researchers in Italy found an increase from 4% to 29% in heart attacks after clocks sprang forwards. Incidence of strokes may also increase after a clock shift. For a 2016 study that was published in the journal called Sleep Medicine, researchers in Finland investigated if there was a connect, and they found that hospitalizations for stroke actually increased by 8% in the 2 days following a daylight savings shift. And that's why there have also not just been health concerns, but also safety concerns. Daylight savings have also been linked to increases in deadly traffic accidents, workplace injuries, medical errors, and overall mortality. In 2018, researchers in Spain published a shocking study that after collecting data from cities across Spain, they found a 30% increase in fatal traffic accidents on the day that clocks sprang upwards. On the day clocks fell backwards, they saw an increase of 16%. Similarly, in a 2021 study, researchers from the Mayo Clinic in the United States found an almost 19% increase in safety-related incidents in the 7 days after clocks sprang forwards, and an almost 5% increase in the 7 days after clocks fell back. Now, the authors of these studies attribute the increase to an average of nearly 40 minutes less sleep for workers. Now, the other aspect of it is whether daylight savings is costly. It can be due to its impact on energy consumption, health, and productivity. The longer daylight hours often lead to increased cooling costs. The study found that economic cost of daylight savings in the United States alone was significant, with a total estimated cost of $672 million annually. That's all we have time for in this episode. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll be joining you next week once again with the big explainers of the week. For the moment, thanks very much for tuning in.
ज़माने से हटकर है, बेबाक है मेरा सिग्नेचर. Signature finest cardamom seeds, a premium product from Dilbar Group.
बीजेपी के सांसद इस वक्त संसद में मकर के ठीक बाद प्रतिष्ठा कर रहे हैं। जो है वो यहाँ पर की जा रही है। अनुराग ठाकुर हमारे साथ मौजूद है। सर, आप लोग कांग्रेस पार्टी से माफी मांग रहे हैं, वहीं दूसरी ओर कांग्रेस गृह मंत्री जी से माफी मांग रही है, क्या कारण है?
SC, ST, OBC विरोधी कांग्रेस जिसने सदा डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का अपमान किया, उनके विचारों से सहमत भी नहीं थे, और पंडित नेहरू जी ने तो उनके खिलाफ चुनावों में प्रचार प्रसार करके उनको हराने का काम किया, षड्यंत्र रचा और उनको राजनीति से बाहर करने का काम कांग्रेस पार्टी ने किया। कांग्रेस को माफी ये मांगनी चाहिए। दूसरी माफी, उनके संविधान को खंड खंड करने का काम। देखिए, सबसे पहले अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी को बदलने का काम पंडित नेहरू ने किया। इंदिरा गांधी जी ने तो काला अध्याय इमरजेंसी का लागू कर दिया। हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? मीडिया के लोग जेल में, नेता जेल में, ये इंदिरा जी की देन है। उसके बाद कई संशोधन एक साथ कर दिए, ये इंदिरा गांधी जी ने किए। बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर को सम्मान तो दूर की बात, अपमानित करने का काम इन्होंने किया। भारत रत्न तीन बार पंडित नेहरू, इंदिरा जी और राजीव गांधी तीनों ने नहीं दिया। 3 पीढ़ियां नेहरू गांधी परिवार की और कांग्रेस के नेता नहीं दिया, अपने आप को ले लिए। इनकी तस्वीर हमने सेंट्रल हॉल में लगानी थी, पोर्ट्रेट, वो नहीं कांग्रेस पार्टी ने माना लगाने के लिए। और अब तो कांग्रेस पार्टी कहती है कि SC, ST, OBC की रिजर्वेशन भी खत्म करनी चाहिए, जो राहुल गांधी जी का बयान अमेरिका में था। जबकि नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने पंच तीर्थ बनाया, हजारों करोड़ रुपए खर्च किए, नागपुर, मऊ, मुंबई, दिल्ली और लंदन में। संविधान पे चर्चा नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने कराई। वजीफे SC, ST, OBC के लिए उन्होंने दिए। OBC कमीशन को अगर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल स्टेटस, संवैधानिक दर्जा किसने दिया? तो नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार ने दिया। कांग्रेस को माफी मांगनी चाहिए देश से। ये जो षड्यंत्र रचती है, झूठ बोलती है और देश को गुमराह करने का काम कांग्रेस करती है, और बाबा साहब अंबेडकर का अपमान और उनके संविधान का अपमान जो कांग्रेस ने किया, देश भूलेगा।
आप ये सब बातें कह रहे हैं कि जो सरकार ने किया, बीजेपी सरकार ने किया, लेकिन कांग्रेस का ये साफ कहना है कि गृह मंत्री को माफी मांगनी पड़ेगी। साथ साथ वो लालू प्रसाद यादव ने तो ये तक कह दिया कि मानसिक संतुलन जो है गृह मंत्री जी का वो बिगड़ चुका है, उनको इस्तीफा दे देना चाहिए। आप उसको कैसा देखते हैं?
अभद्र टिप्पणी करने से कुछ नहीं होगा, सच्चाई बदलेगी नहीं। इतिहास गवाह है कि कांग्रेस ने लगातार पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का अपमान किया है। उनको एक तरह से घृणा करते थे, मैं तो कहूंगा। आज वो घृणा प्रेम में कैसे बदलती दिख रही है, क्योंकि मजबूरी उनकी हो गई जब संविधान पे चर्चा हुई और कांग्रेस का चेहरा बेनकाब हुआ।
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 23 and minimum 10 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 25 and minimum 21 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 28 and minimum 16 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 26 and minimum 20 degrees. Chennai, maximum 27 and minimum 24 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 27 and minimum 20 degrees.
So your message about your son's retirement?
Pardon?
Your message about your son's retirement?
Nothing else. He wanted to give his retirement. He has given it. That's all.
And he has only said that he's retiring from international cricket. He's going to play for the Chennai Super Kings and other things. So how is it going to be?
I don't know. Should he?
Then much different. I think when he plays for CSK, there is no, tension or anything. He'll favor the team, his franchise. But when he plays for India, there will be always in the attention mood as well as the calculation, everything. But the difference makes nothing, not much difference.
He's an absolute legend, and our fans are really completely devastated. But is there any chance of him thinking about his decision once again?
That I have to ask him. At the same time, I can't say that. How can I answer for that question?
Thank you so much.
Oh, yes.
Say goodbye to invasive surgeries and hello to cutting-edge innovation. Emerald laser body contouring is creating waves in the weight loss industry, offering a revolutionary non-invasive option. With India's wellness market booming, this technology is reshaping the way we approach beauty. So what is Emerald laser and why is it making such a wave globally? Emerald laser uses low-level laser technology to target stubborn fat cells. It is non-invasive, painless and requires zero recovery time, making it a preferred choice globally. Emerald laser is one of the few treatments proven to work even for individuals with a higher BMI. It is inclusive, efficient and scientifically backed. Emerald laser treatment are often considered superior to cool sculpting or cryolipolysis due to their non-invasive and painless approach to fat reduction. Unlike cool sculpting, which freezes the fat cells, Emerald laser uses low-level laser technology to emulsify fat, allowing natural elimination without discomfort or tissue damage. It also promotes lymphatic drainage and improves skin tone, offering a safer, holistic body contouring solution with no downtime. The Indian market for non-invasive body contouring is surging, with metro cities leading the demand. Emerald laser's affordability and convenience make it a top choice. And it is not just about women. Men also are increasingly turning to emerald laser treatment to sculpt their bodies. It is versatile and safe, and therefore becomes appealing to everyone. Emerald laser fits perfectly into the fast-paced life of Indians, offering effective results without the hassle of recovery or high cost. With its revolutionary approach to body contouring, Emerald laser is not just a trend, it is the future. For India's wellness enthusiasts, the journey to a better body is now as simple as a quick, painless session. With Shituja Gosavi, Bureau Report, India Today.
सुनो 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 दिल्ली वालों ध्यान से सुनो। दीदी भी सुने, माता भी सुने, बेटी भी सुने, भाभी जी आप भी सुन लें। कान में तेल डाल के सुने, पूरा ध्यान लगाकर सुने। मध्य प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र, झारखंड की अपार सफलता के बाद जी दिल्ली में आ रही है जादूगर केजरीवाल की अचूक स्कीम। जादूगर छड़ी घुमाएगा जी, खेल दिखाएगा जी, महिलाओं के खाते में 1000 रुपए पहुंचाएगा जी। इसी तरह आने वाले चुनाव में वोट कमाएगा जी। सुनो 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 दिल्ली वालों, ध्यान से सुनो।
या रेवड़ी ले लो, रेवड़ी या रेवड़ी वाले या।
Co-powered by Voltas Beko Refrigerator, Sun's goodness in your fridge. Co-powered by MG Windsor EV, live business class.
Good evening, you're watching 7 at 7. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. These are the headlines. RSS chief's big harmony message amidst Mandir-Masjid controversy. Mohan Bhagwat says stop raising fresh Ram Mandir-like disputes.
BJP Congress in big Sansad flare-up. Day after assault and threat at Parliament, BJP protest at Parliament India MPs outside. Rahul booked for assault, Congress on warpath. BJP MP gives 1984 bag to Priyanka after Priyanka's Palestine and Bangladesh bags. Blood-soaked 1984 inscribed on bag. BJP MP WhatsApp gives bag to Priyanka. Week after shrine reopens, ASI conducts discreet survey of Sambhal temple. 19 wells and 5 other pilgrimage sites also studied. Arrested for crass remarks against Karnataka Minister Lakshmi Hebbalkar, BJP MLC CT Ravi granted bail by Karnataka High Court in 24 hours. KTR gets protection from arrest till December 30th in Formula E race deal probe. BRS leader calls it Congress bid to divert from failures. 11 people killed in massive fire at Jaipur petrol pump as a CNG truck collides with an LPG truck. Over 40 vehicles gutted. All right, our top focus, the Ambedkar firestorm brought the final leg of the Parliament winter session to a grinding halt. BJP versus Congress protests continued for the 4th straight day, while leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi is now booked for allegedly assaulting 3 BJP MPs. The fight for Ambedkar's legacy only but continues.
4 days of total lockdown in Parliament.
किसी भी तरह का धरना प्रदर्शन करना उचित नहीं है.
The Ambedkar firestorm brought the final leg of winter session to a grinding halt.
मैं आप सभी से पुनः आग्रह करता हूं कि संसद की गरिमा मर्यादा बनाए सबकी सामूहिक जिम्मेदारी है.
Protests versus protests.
अब ये जानते हैं कि इन्होंने जो किया, इनकी असली भावना निकल आई है, जो अंबेडकर जी के प्रति इनकी असली भावना है वो निकल आई है. इसलिए अब ये अब ऑपोजिशन से डर रहे हैं, क्योंकि हम इस मुद्दे को उठा रहे हैं.
हम कांग्रेस पार्टी से माफी मांगने की मांग कर रहे हैं. जो अम्बेडकर जी का अपमान कांग्रेस पार्टी ने किया वो भी, और जो सांसदों के साथ राहुल गांधी ने किया वो भी प्रत्येक माफी मांगी.
Scuffle versus scuffle. Allegations of assault within the Sansad hardening the divide between the BJP and the India bloc.
ये पहली बार नहीं हो रहा है, ये लगातार देख रहे हैं. ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की स्ट्रेटजी है कि पहले वो गलत काम करते हैं, जब आप उसका विरोध करते हैं तो प्रशासन से, शासन से आप पर झूठे मुकदमे लगाते हैं.
The leader of opposition booked for alleged physical assault against 3 BJP MPs. The charge Rahul Gandhi and the Congress denied.
बीजेपी के एमपी लकड़ियां लिए हमारे सामने खड़े होते हैं, हमें अंदर नहीं जाने देते हैं, और उसके बाद अब ये थोड़ा सा अपना फिर से डिस्ट्रैक्शन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
The BJP has demanded an apology.
राहुल गांधी खुद एक नेता है और खुद इस तरह से धक्का मुक्की करना ये तो शोभा नहीं देता है. राहुल गांधी जी देश से माफी मांगना चाहिए. ये हमारे एमपीज का जो डिमांड है वो तो जायज है.
While Congress is up in arms against Amit Shah, demanding his resignation for allegedly insulting Ambedkar in Parliament.
बाबा साहब के प्रति जो अपमान हुआ कोई सहने नहीं वाला, और बाबा साहब के सामने अमित शाह जी को झुकना पड़ेगा.
The war over Ambedkar's legacy is far from over. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, Delhi politics heating up. Arvind Kejriwal has now taken on the BJP party president JP Nadda over Rohingya remarks. Arvind Kejriwal suggests that BJP is equating Purvachalis to Rohingyas. Aam Aadmi Party says BJP insulted Delhi's Purvachali residents. Plot to delete Purvachali names from voter list. BJP snatching rights of Purvachalis. This is what Arvind Kejriwal said. Let's play both reactions, Arvind Kejriwal as well as JP Nadda.
आम सदन के अंदर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा जी ने कबूल किया कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता पूर्वांचल समाज के, रोहिंग्या के, बांग्लादेशियों के नाम कटवा रहे हैं। हम इसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं और ये एक पूरे पूर्वांचल समाज के खिलाफ साजिश है। और ये क्यों किया जा रहा है? ये एक सोची समझी बहुत घिनौनी साजिश के तहत बीजेपी कर रही है, क्योंकि दिल्ली का अधिकांश पूर्वांचल समाज आम आदमी पार्टी का वोटर है। इसीलिए बीजेपी ने साजिश रची है कि दिल्ली के पूर्वांचल के जितने वोट हैं वो पूरी तरह से कटवा दिए जाएं।
3 बातें बताना चाहता हूं। पहली बात, जो संजय सिंह जी ने कही कि फलाने राम फलाने राम फलाने राम, संविधान में, इलेक्शन कमीशन में पूरा अधिकार है किसी व्यक्ति को किसी के वोट पर ऑब्जेक्शन करने का, और ऑब्जेक्शन में रीजन देने का होता है। जिन लोगों ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से ऑब्जेक्शन दिया है तो साथ में रीजन भी दिया है, और वो चाहे पूर्वांचल हो, चाहे रोहिंग्या हो, चाहे बांग्लादेशी हो, चाहे घुसपैठिया हो, वो सब उसमें आते हैं। दूसरी बात, इसलिए इसको राजनीतिक रंग देने की जरूरत नहीं है। इसको
संजय जी प्लीज बैठिए। आप प्लीज बैठिए। मैं आपसे आग्रह करता हूँ, संजय जी प्लीज बैठिए। ये आपस में गला फाड़ प्रतियोगिता ना करें, प्लीज बैठे, प्लीज। हाँ,
इसको संविधान के नजरिए से देखने की आवश्यकता है, और आज हम संविधान पर चर्चा कर रहे हैं। इसको राजनीतिक रंग देने की जरूरत नहीं है। दूसरी बात आपने कही, सरकारें गिरा दी। अरे भाई, मध्य प्रदेश में हम 5वीं बार चुन करके आ गए, उत्तर प्रदेश में हम दूसरी बार लगातार आ गए। आपने महाराष्ट्र के बारे में कहा कि खरीद फरोख्त हुई, महाराष्ट्र ने लैंडस्लाइड विक्ट्री भारतीय जनता पार्टी को दी।
All right, viewers, to understand why is it that Arvind Kejriwal chose to pick on that word Purvachali, which was used by JP Nadda in Parliament, I want to bring in Kunal, who has a great understanding of the Delhi electorate. Kunal, Delhi is going into election in the next month's time. And the Purvachali vote bank, which now falls between 15 to 20% where Delhi is concerned, is of utmost importance.
Exactly, and that's why Arvind Kejriwal has picked up the issue, and he is actually targeting JP Nadda, not just JP Nadda, but BJP as a whole, that they are actually behind the names, deletion of the names from the voter list, and Purvachali make a quite sizable number in among the electorate, and those names which have been deleted by the election commission, what Aam Aadmi Party is claiming at the behest of the BJP, lots of names are from the Purvachali community. To understand and to get some sense about it, you have to understand that at least 40